Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts Music School talk show. And I am so glad to have you all with us who are with us, I should say. My name is Joe Pace III. I am the director of the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts, and I'm also a instructor there. Now, some of you all have seen us before. Others may be tuning in for the first time. We usually deal with our programming. And then we have a few things to say about our music school, of course, and our tutoring school, rather. We are specialized in teaching music, math, and English. We have a tutoring school in English and math. And for those of you out there who are struggling with those subjects, you need to give us a call. Our phone number, you may call us here. We are here with Mr. Theory Lewis, who is my assistant and also the production assistant here at this television station. That phone number is on your television. You can see on your television screen, 312-738-1060. And you can also call us at our facility, which is the 773-891-1875. Now, this is the last week we're going to be on before the Black History Month ends. And of course, most of us study our history throughout the year, but this month has been set aside for many years as a month in which we, I guess, incorporate our history into American history. And of course, you can't really separate the two. They are inseparable. But people have been trying to do that for many years. As you know, we have helped to build this country to what it is today. And I'm pretty sure that it would not be what it is today had it not been for us and the free labor that our ancestors provided for so many years. And to that extent, I was talking to a young lady on Sunday who is involved with reparations, and there's a group that's going to be meeting. I didn't bring that with me. I wish I had brought it with me. I would have shared it with you all. And I'm not exactly sure where they're meeting, but they're meeting to confer an award on Minister Louis Farrakhan, and at the same time they're going to talk about reparations, which of course we support that because we believe that no matter what, that's our heritage coming from our ancestors. We are their heirs, and because we are their heirs, people say, well, it didn't happen during these times. Well, and why should you benefit after, something like that has occurred? But the point of the matter is that those people who were benefactors of it, who benefited from it, that is to say, their ancestors are still benefiting from it. So we would think that those of us who did not benefit from it would have an opportunity to benefit for it on today, if that makes any sense to you. I could clarify that more, but we have to move on. That is to say that I believe we are strongly owed that. I mean, there's no people in this world that's owed more than we are. And I believe that one day it will be paid, and paid indeed it will be. It may not be even in our lifetimes. It may be 50, 100, 150, 200 years from now. But that is a debt that's owed big time to our people. Now, and let me just say this right here before I leave that subject alone. There's no such thing as the legal bondage or legally removing people's human rights. There's no such thing as that. Because if someone, debates that, okay, it was the law, and so we all abided by the law, that's an illegal law. That's a law that can never stand up in the universe, So I could argue this for days and do so with confidence. But let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about Black history, since this is the last, we're in the last week of the Black History Month. And let me say this right here. when I was growing up as a kid down in Birmingham, Alabama, um, I and of course I got here when I was still a teenager, and I've been here ever since. But I did grow up down there, and I understand the culture very much, and I still have lots of relatives down in that area. But the it wasn't a whole month. It was a week. It was Black History Week when I was growing up. But we learned a lot of Black history though back in those days, because all of our schools we had pictures like of Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass, and all of those pictures were just all up and down our hall. And this was throughout the year. And we talked about it, our teachers talked about it, so we knew what Nat Turner had done in terms of his rebellions against slavery. And we knew Harriet Tubman long before this, it became popular, I guess. So keep in mind, a lot of you folks who don't know anything about the South, that these subjects have been taught down there for many, many, many generations, But anyway, I want to talk about, and then keep in mind that the movement really started down there with Martin Luther King, who was from Georgia, as you know. So, I see a lot of people trying to critique, and I'm using that word very loosely, trying to critique Southerners and whatnot. But let me tell you something, if it wasn't for the South and what our people have done down south, whew, we'd be in real bad shape, And we are still doing things in the South. When I go to the South, the stuff that's occurring in the North, it really isn't occurring in the South, not to nearly the degree that it is in here. In some places like New Orleans and even in some sections of Atlanta, it's pretty bad. But for the most part, in places like Nashville and even Birmingham and Louisville and places of that type, you just don't have this kind of waste and carnage going on, Alrighty, having said that, we're going to talk to you a little bit about something that I want to share something with you on today. And this is something that was produced by an organization that I'm a part of. It is so wonderful when you get involved with people who are. This is as you can see, freedom fighter picture or poster, whatever you want to call it. And you see there at the very top, and of course this is in commemoration of the Black History Month, the last week of it. You see where it says freedom fighters. You see Martin Luther King at the very top of it. So eloquent. People don't realize sometimes he was just a youngster, 27 years old, when he answered the call to duty. When Rosa Parks, who is, as you can see, on the first row there in the middle, when she refused to give her seat to a white man on the bus, her bus seat to a white man. And Martin was preaching at a little church there, having not long gotten out of seminary. He was preaching at a church there in Montgomery, Alabama, and he heard the call, the cry from the people after they had so meanly treated one of our women. And the men stood up, and Martin Luther King was the leader. And he was just 27 years old. I think about these young people today at 27 years old. They're walking around with baggy pants and tattooed all over and this, that, and the other. And to see how he took full responsibility, indeed an obligation upon himself to do what he did. And 10 years later, a little over 10 years later, he gave his life at 39 years old. We can never repay our debt of gratitude to this gentleman. I believe that the only man in American history that can come close to the character, in my opinion, of this gentleman would be Abraham Lincoln. And we know the story about Abraham Lincoln and his fight for the Union and this, that, and the other. But if you read between the lines, this man had a lot of character. And he put up a fight in opposition by many thousands and thousands of people. And then he eventually was martyred, sometimes shortly after the war ended. But when it goes back to Martin Luther King, it's a, and you know, I look at a lot of people around and some people call themselves not honoring his birthday, the holiday that he has. Any American who calls themselves, because he made this a much better country for all of us, including whites and Asians and Hispanics and the rest. Anybody who calls themselves not respecting Martin Luther King's national holiday should be sent out, should be exiled from this country, because that person truly is not an American. Should be exiled from this country if, in fact, you don't respect what Martin Luther King did. You know, you'd have to be a very, very unconscious person, a person who is borderline mentally ill, in order not to respect what Dr. King did in this country. And then as we move on down to Frederick Douglass, there to the left of your screen, you can see that Frederick was born in slavery, and he managed to get out of the chains and shackles by escaping a very cruel, mean, and ornery owner, so to speak, a plantation boss, I guess, if you will. And after getting out of those chains and whatnot and making his way to the north, to freedom, he fought for the rest of his life eloquently as a statesman, with every bit of fight in his body. And he once said that, you know, and speaking about, someone once asked him, his assistant once asked him, said, what is it that I should do in life to make a difference? And Frederick Douglass said to him, agitate, 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 meaning never stop fighting for justice. Never stop fighting for justice. And so we owe a heavy debt of gratitude to Frederick Douglass. And then, of course, right next to him, I was debating with somebody about this picture because it looks, I'm pretty sure that's Bobby Seals there. And as many of you know, Bobby was a Black Panther. And the Black Panthers did so much for us. You know, we certainly don't want to forget them and what they did for us. And when we think about the Black Panthers, we can't help but think about Fred Hampton, who was feeding the people and clothing them and providing shelter. I mean, just a wonderful young man. And the state's attorney, I think his name was Hanrahan, took a group of henchmen, I call them, so-called police officers, Chicago police officers, but they took a group of henchmen, surprised them over to their building and shot them all up and killed several people along with Fred Hampton. And you know, there are some things that are unforgivable, and that's one, and I could never forgive them for that, taking that young man's life away from him like that. That was cold and cruel, and people who are that ornery and that mean, again, should be wiped from the face of the earth somehow. And so we owe Fred a heavy debt of gratitude. And then, of course, right next to him is the one and only Nelson Mandela, who struggled and fought against one of the most racist societies ever to be on the face of this earth, the Dutch and their apartheid, and went to jail for 26 or 7 years, got out, and went on to become president of that country, and did what none of them would have done. In a zillion years, they wouldn't have done it. He forgave every one of them, forgave them, and just went on with his country. And you know, that's a big man to have done that. And by the way, it was at the suggestion, it was really Bishop Desmond Tutu's idea. But it was embraced. It was embraced by Nelson, and they forgave every one of them. And some of them, they told him, they said, look at here, said if you come clean with the truth, we'll forgive you. And all they came out, and most thousands of them, saying that they had killed, maimed, and murdered, and raped, and oh man, they let them off. I'll tell you something. I don't think I could ever have been that big. I would have put them in locks and chains so fast until they'd have thought lightning had struck, and I would have run every one of them before a judge, and they would have had to plead for their lives because I'm sure many of them would have gotten the death sentence. But that's me. I'm not Nelson McDonough. I'm losing my thought here. I'm not Nelson Mandela. But anyway, so we owe Nelson a great debt of gratitude also. And as we come on down, we see the one and only Malcolm X. Now, Malcolm was the kind of individual that people misunderstood. They thought he was a racist, but he was not. Malcolm was a man that had embraced the concept of justice, and he fought against injustice all of his life. He fought against those who wanted to oppress his people. You know, he fought against those who were using their police powers to abuse the people, to maim and to murder while hiding behind a badge. Cowards, he would call them, hiding behind badges. And so, and they were. You take those badges away from most of those people and they run like scared rabbits. I've seen them. I was in the military with people like that, some of them. Most were very nice people, but some of them were like that, cowards. Anyway, let's keep on moving. And we owe a debt of gratitude to Malcolm X. El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, that's his Muslim name. I saw his daughter on TV on yesterday, and she was talking about her father because this represents, he was martyred himself in the fall of 1965. And I believe this represents a very pivotal year for him, having passed away. What would that be, 1965 to now? Is that 50 years? I believe so. Okay, now, let's take a look at, as we move, time's running out, and I just got started. Let's take a look to the left of Malcolm X, and you'll see Rosa Parks herself. Now, this is what I call my home girl, because she was from Montgomery, and I'm from Birmingham. But she fought against them and lived to be to her early 90s. She said, I'm not going to stand up. I am tired, and I'm not giving you my seat. And that's what springboarded the whole civil rights movement here in America. She said, I am not giving you my seat. And she was very adamant about that. And they ended up taking her to jail. But like I said, they jumped on one of our women, and that was too much. Now, to the left of her is none other than Harriet Tubman. My. Now, here is a woman who decided that it wasn't enough for her to have her own freedom, but she was going to provide a way for hundreds and perhaps even thousands of people to gain freedom from the repression, from the hard life of being beaten and struggling, from one day to the other, with your children and your wives being mistreated and abused, and sometimes raped, and people being lynched. And the one thing about her, she would always tell people that, okay, if she came back to get you, you better be ready to go, because some people were a little afraid because of the things that were happening. They didn't want to end up being lynched or beaten half to death. This is a cruel country. We got a terrible history in this country, and we somehow have to get beyond it. And we can't get beyond it when we got people shooting down, with badges on, shooting down youngsters in the back, and smiling and laughing and high-fiving about it, I mean, to me, that's the lowest person that could ever be, an individual that would shoot another human being and laugh and be proud of it. You can't get any lower than that. I don't care what you say. And people like that need to be sent to the moon or somewhere. But anyway, Harriet Tubman, we owe her a debt of gratitude. And she carried a double-barrel shotgun. And if she came to get you and you weren't ready to go to freedom, you would go, because she would tell you, let's go. Or I'll give you one right in the rear end, So we owe her a debt of gratitude. And by the way, they have, I believe, if I'm correct, I think what they've done is they have made it possible so that a few years down the road, I'm not sure how many years down the road, but I believe she's going to be on the $20 bill. And that's coming down the road. I don't think they're going to take. Who's on the $20 bill? Is that Hamilton? Mr. Lewis? Are you there? Are you listening at all? Are you sleeping? He must have got my assistant. I'm trying to call for him, get some information. But I think I'm pretty sure that's Jackson. I'm pretty sure that Andrew Jackson is on the $20 bill, if I'm not mistaken. Heck, I got one in my pocket. I don't want to make a mistake here on the air, because there may be some youngsters living in. I am a school teacher, very much so, and I want to make certain that I'm right. I don't really bother with money all that much, unless do I have a $20 bill? I don't know if I have one. I thought I had a $20 bill so we could make certain that we were being. I believe that's correct. If it's not, I will talk to you all next week and then make certain that. Well, Hamilton is on the $10 bill, and so we know it's not Hamilton. But anyway, bottom line is that she's going to be honored, and I'm so happy that I was able to share some things with you all today having to do with Black history. Now we need to get ourselves together, and I want you to make your phone calls to Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts. Those of you who are ready to join up with us to learn how to play an instrument, those who want to get better in math and English and things of that nature, you're welcome to come by. You can give us a call. We give you an appointment to come over. Again, our number is 773-891-1875. And so we look forward to seeing you, to hearing from you, and we hope that the rest of this month will be just as good as this month was for you. We hope that you'll enjoy the rest of this Black History Month, and we hope that you're getting along well, and that the violence that's going on in the streets, that your children, grandchildren, and you will not be a part of that. And we are praying and hoping that that will occur, that you'll be able to walk your streets safe and sound, enjoy your lives and whatnot, and not have to worry about the violence of someone shooting or anything, or for that matter, someone. And let me tell you something before you. And I want all of you to be sure that you talk to your children, especially to your sons and whatnot, because we don't want any more police killings because somebody didn't raise their hand or because somebody ran away from them. We don't want any more of that stuff, you know, because I'm so tired of reading that in the paper. I'm tired of reading about the violence among the young people, but I'm especially tired of hearing about the violence among police, people who are sworn to uphold the law. These people are 30, 40, 50, and sometimes 60 years old, and shooting youngsters in the back as they're running away. That to me is the most egregious thing that could occur. These young people are out of control. They really don't know any better, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing that. Number one, it's not all that much money in it, and because of the fact that they're doing it, that tells me that they have nothing else to do with their time, and that's why we have our programs. We'd like for you to get over and get involved with our drum program. Okie dokie. So now we're gonna say goodbye to you. I want you to talk to your friends and let them know we're on the air, and we'll see you next week. Take care.